Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas and this is the ultimate Unity tutorial for beginners, and welcome to episode 31. In this tutorial we're going to carry on where we left off last time, and we're going to focus on our new NPC. We're going to give him the ability to walk around and follow a certain path. Don't forget, click the subscribe button and click the bell icon as well to stay up to date with everything about video game development, including this series on my channel. And with that in mind, let's get to work. So up until now, the way we've dealt with certain individuals, i.e. the skeleton over here, is he walks a random path, but we want this one to walk a certain path. So, for example, to walk from here to here to here to here to here, just round in this section constantly. Now, although that's probably not 100% the way games would do it, obviously there is a lot more randomization to the AI in some games. However, some NPCs are required to walk a certain path, perhaps because of the game mechanics, perhaps a quest or something like that. So we're going to implement that mechanic to this NPC. Now, much like the skeleton, we need to endorse the whole AI system which we use in navigation. So this whole area is going to be used. Just like the skeleton as well, we need to basically apply the same scripts to our NPC. So if you remember, going back a couple of tutorials, we have right here the navigation AI script. And I'm just going to open up that navigation AI script in Visual Studio. So to get the NPC to walk on a certain path, we need to basically know the coordinates of where the NPC has to walk to. But at the same time, we also have to understand that basically well, I say cube because it's going to be a cube that we use, is going to have to move. So it's always going to be the same destination object, just like the skeleton, but obviously that moves and always goes into certain places. That's why we need to know the exact positions of where we want our NPC to walk to. So this is just loading up now. And like I say, we're going to apply the same mechanics that we use for the skeleton as soon as Visual Studio has decided it wants to load up. Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick. So there we go. So if you remember, this navigation AI script basically is saying that the destination, the nav mesh agent can attack. Now, we need to actually use part of this script. We shouldn't use the entire script because this one is kind of geared towards an enemy. And because this is an NPC, not an enemy, we're going to need to create a new script. So in the scripts folder, I'm actually going to create a brand new folder and call this one just character. And in there, I'm going to create a new C# script, and I'm going to call this NPC AI nav. Obviously, the nav is short for navigation. So once we open that up in Visual Studio, I said Unity. Once we open that up in Visual, it's been slow today. We are going to copy the couple of lines of code from here and get rid of the lines that we don't actually need. So let's copy everything inside the class and place it inside the class over here. And we can get rid of a couple of things here. We don't really need this if statement simply because we don't need to know if we can attack or not, because like I say, it's an NPC. So we need to say, instead of all of that, get rid of that. And we're saying the agent.setDestination, and that's all we need there. Same will apply for the variables up here. We can get rid of the player. We can get rid of the can attack. And finally, we also need to add in using Unity engine.ai, semicolon, and save the script. So now let's apply this script to our NPC. So let's go to our NPC. Let's click Add Component. Let's click, tell you what, let's add this via NPC AI nav. There we go. So the destination is what we're going to set next. So let's set up our destination to be somewhere here by the tree. So game object, 3D object, cube. And let's bring this down to round about there. Probably maybe 100. In fact, we'll have it as 101, so it is above ground. And obviously, if there is more to it than a single y-axis, then you would take that into account when we create the script. So for now, I'm going to bring this to here. I'm going to take isTrigger and I'm going to untick Mesh Renderer. Now, there's a couple of steps that we also need to take into account. We need to tag our NPC. So let's click on our NPC. Let's go to tag at the top and let's go to add tag and click plus. And let's actually call this NPC. Click save. So, oops, I clicked off it there. So now we need to tag as NPC. So this becomes vital when we decide that this is the NPC, because it could be the player, it could be a skeleton, it could be anything. So we just need to make sure that this is the NPC. So going back to our skeleton, over here we have the nav mesh agent, so we're gonna need that as well. We don't actually need any kind of further script after that, because remember, for now, this is just an NPC walking in a certain path. But obviously, when we get more in depth with the AI, we're going to need more scripts on it. But for now, all we need to do is add the nav mesh agent to the player. So, nav mesh agent. And while we're at it, let's attach this cube to the variable over here. And let's rename this to NPC 002 dest. Obviously that'll be destination. So I'm going to bring it up and place it just above our NPC character. Now, if everything goes to plan, we should be able to press play now and we should be able to see our NPC walk over to destination. So I'm going to click into scene view. Okay, so they are sliding across the floor. It works, but they're sliding across the floor. That's kind of a cool effect. Obviously, we need to add the walking animation. So let's do that. Let's go to our NPC, wherever it is. Where is it here? It's here, isn't it? So we need to extract the walking animation from there. So hold Control, press D to take the walking animation, loop time. Let's drag and drop it onto our NPC. And let's click on the NPC and go to the animator and set walking as the default layer. And press play again, and we should be able to see our NPC walking, although I think they may be traveling too fast. So we just need to slow down the speed a little bit. So let's go to our NPC. Speed, let's change to 3. I'm not going to spend too much time checking this out. Obviously, you just need to sort it out. That's not too bad. We'll stick at 3. You may need to refine it a little bit more, but I'm not going to do that in this tutorial. I'm not going to waste the time. You do it for your game. So the next thing we need to do is we need to set certain positions for the destination. So I'm going to do this all in whole numbers just to make things a little easier. So I'm going to have 466 and 200. And I might turn the mesh renderer back on so we can see it a bit better. So let's code 5 locations that this path can be. So this will obviously be the first location. So we need to make note of all of the numbers that we are going to use here. So I haven't actually scripted any of this yet. So I'm doing this live as we go along. And I am saying that we need 466 as the first destination by 101 and 200. So we need to keep that in mind. The next destination let's have as over here. So that can be, what is it? 466, 101 and 222. Let's have another one over here maybe. So that's going to be 474, 101 and 229. So we'll have 2 more. Let's have the next one over here. So we'll say 493, 101 and 197. So you can see exactly what I'm doing here, hopefully. And the final one we'll have somewhere around here. So we'll say probably about there maybe. We'll say there. So 488, 101 and 181. Obviously, the longer your path, the more coordinates you're going to have. So let's set this back to where it originally was, over here. and that should be 466, 101, and 200. So now let's code the script which allows that marker to move so this NPC follows the path. So character, right click, create, C# script. Let's have this NPC 002 dest. And let's open it up in Visual Studio. And this is actually going to be fairly simple once you understand the concept of why we do it. So I'm going to tell you now, we're doing this backwards. The reason we do it backwards is, well, it'll become very apparent as we go a little further on. We can get rid of void start and void update. We don't need them. And we do, however, need an integer that we're going to use as a pivot point, which is going to be the point where the NPC walks into that trigger. So public int, and we'll call it pivot point, semicolon. So by default, it is going to be 0, which means that when we hit it the first time, we need to change it to 1. And like I said, we need to do this backwards, but to understand why we need to do it backwards, first I'm going to do it forwards. So void on trigger enter, open close bracket and open curly bracket, and obviously if it auto fills we can get rid of private, doesn't need to be. Now in the parentheses here we have collider other, and we need to keep them because that is referencing whatever is colliding with it and giving it other, which means that we can check if the tag of other in this case is equal to NPC, which we set it as before. So if, and in brackets, other dot tag equals NPC, then do the following. So we've got everything in place now, and we're saying that if, and in brackets, pivot point is equal to 0, then we do the following. So the first place that it is at, so position 0 is at 466, 101, 200, where it's at now. So that is position 0. Okay, so the second position is position 1, position 2, and position 3, and position 4. So there are 5 positions, but they're just labeled from 0 to 4. So let's set this right here to say if pivot point is equal to 0, then this dot game object dot transform dot position, and in brackets the X, Y, and Z positions, in which case the second position we need to move it to is 466, 101. In fact, I've done that wrong, haven't I? Now I think about it, that needs to be equals new vector 3, obviously, because if we don't do that, it's not going to work because we're not declaring it properly. So 222 semicolon, and next line down we need to say that pivot point equals 1 semicolon. Now hopefully the eagle-eyed viewers of you out there can see that this is why we need to do it backwards. So I'm just going to carry on forwards for now. So we're then going to say if pivot point is equal to 1, we are saying that we need to move it to 474, which is the third position, 101 and 229, and then change pivot point to 2. So at this point we're doing it forwards, and hopefully you can see that what will happen here is it will infinitely loop around without the NPC walking anywhere. The reason being is because it's saying if pivot point is 0, move it here, and then end if. And then the next if statement is saying if pivot point is 1, then move it here, change that to 2, and then end if. Obviously the next bit would say if pivot point equals 2, move it here, change it to 3. However, you can see that we've already changed it here. So we need to skip everything. However, doing it backwards, that is how we do it. So if we take this if statement from here and place it above the original if statement, we can see that it filters all the way down until it gets to here and then ends. So it'll filter down to here, change it to 2, and then end, because it's already past the point that it says if pivot point is equal to 2. So that is the reason why we do it backwards. If, in the brackets, pivot point equals 2, then do the following. So we can copy this line of code, And we'll say the next one is going to be 493. So 493, 101, and 197. 197. And then we need to say pivot point equals 3, semicolon. So going backwards once again, let's copy that if statement, go backwards and say 3. So we're saying now that we need to move this one to 488. Can't even read my own writing properly. 488, 101, and 181. Change pivot point to 4, which means that if we take that and say if pivot point equals 4, then we're saying that we need to move the object to its original position, which is going to be 466, 101, and 200. And then we'll say pivot point change to 5. Then obviously 5 is going to be the reset. So if pivot point equals 5, then we need to say, get rid of that line, and say pivot point equals 0. And what that means is that when we've reached this position here, we'll reset to 0, which means this one occurs. So let's actually try this out now. Let's save that script, head back into Unity, and when Unity's compiled the script, we need to attach it to NPC 002 dest up there, like so. And then that's all we need to do. We don't need to attach anything else. And I'm going to turn off the mesh renderer. I'm going to save my scene. And then I'm going to press play and click back on the scene view so we can see everything working as intended. So we should see our NPC walk this path all the way around here constantly. Okay, so right, appears we have a little bug. We have a little bug there. I wonder why that's happened. That's got me curious now. I wonder why that's happened. So let's see if it happens again. So I'm not going to move. I'm going to stay there. Our NPC. Okay, that's very curious. Oh, yeah, I know why. Oh, Jimmy. So do you know what? Sometimes I really laugh at myself and think, you make the silliest mistakes, Jimmy. It's obvious why this isn't working. It is obvious. I'm going to use the skeleton as the example because I think we had something kind of similar when we actually did that. We need to attach a box collider and a rigid body. Obviously. Obvious because it's physics we're dealing with here as well as AI, isn't it? So let's have a box collider on our NPC. We'll probably need to adjust that a little bit because it's in the floor, isn't it? So let's have the center as, where's it going to be? It's going to be about there, isn't it? So let's say about 1, and obviously the size is going to be at 1 point. In fact, we'll have it as 2 because just to be safe. Increase that a little bit, 1.08. And then obviously we need to add the rigid body. And on that rigid body, we need to tick is kinematic. So now we should be able to press play and actually see our NPC do what it's supposed to do. So let's zoom out and watch our NPC go from place to place. There we go. So now our NPC is following that path that we have set. Excellent. So hopefully it should walk here, then to here, and then to here. Hopefully. So far so good. And what I'm going to do next... There we go, they're going back to there. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to try and get through these trees so we can see it in the game view, our NPC walking. I think we should be able to get through. Are we through? We are through. There we go. There's our NPC walking. No problem at all. Excellent. So, obviously you can refine that and modify it as much as you need to get it more accurate, to get it more sensible looking. And I would recommend you do that before the next tutorial. Obviously, take as much time as you need to. You don't generally have to wait for the next tutorial to work on this game. You can just refine and deal with the little bugs here, there, and everywhere while you wait. So, guys, next tutorial, what we're going to do is get our NPC to talk to us and stop and actually face us and talk to us properly. And obviously, we'll take the AI a little bit further from there. So, guys, until that next tutorial, thank you very much for watching.